Lawyers whose harassment case began an outright scandal and ended mysteriously quietly? Story 1. Hey, I recently posted about a similar situation. I will tell you it absolutely sucks, and I wish I had an answer. I am still upset about it, if I am being honest. Tried to get advice too. What I can tell you is you are not alone, and I wish this was not nearly as pervasive as it apparently still is in this profession. For all its leaps and strides, good old boys of the profession and other jerks certainly do a lot of damage to this day. My current similar situation is with opposing counsel. People are telling me to report the guy who sexually harassed me. We also have concerns he is coming to work under the influence of substances, but I have no proof of that, just suspicions. But I have the same worries you do, especially since this is a guy who everyone has kind of quietly agreed to allow to ride out his sunset years. Already retired from his career position, now just takes conflict cases. I worry if I call him out, I will be seen as the person who is causing problems. One colleague agreed what the attorney did was not okay, but I noticed he did not tell me he would support me in doing something about it. In fact, he did not say anything about doing anything at all, other than not having private conversations with that attorney anymore. Which is kind of a bare minimum boundary, but it is also the easiest one to accomplish. Here, what I see so far from comments is that people are saying ignore it, which really sucks, but I can't say I do not understand the perspective. It is certainly the safest route professionally, and prioritizing professional safety is also a totally valid response. I do not have an answer myself. I do not know what I am going to do overall about the situation I am in, but from prior experience and from this experience, the decisions I have made, here is what I have decided to do. Start forming, like I described, bare minimum boundaries. Boundaries so simple to do, you can implement them without them truly being sure you are implementing them unless directly pressed about the change in behavior. No in-person private conversations with particularly problematic attorneys. Only written contact. No getting coffee for other attorneys. I was asked to get coffee once by a man at a different job. I pretended I did not understand the sexist nature of what he was asking, and said I was not presently getting coffee, but I am sure the others would get some and would be happy to join them. Later, I agreed to get coffee for a female colleague when I was already getting coffee for myself, and on another occasion I went with a colleague to get coffee. Having a firm end conversation phrase on hand. One thing I did in my last conversation is I shook the guy's hand and I left. Try to figure out ways to redirect. I was harassed on another occasion by different opposing counsel, and I just patently repeated the same phrase, I am glad I could meet you and talk to you about the case. Trying to redirect to the case at hand, instead of him persistently asking me if I had his picture on my bedroom wall and he would be happy to sign it for me, which I did not entertain for a second, and just kept repeating, I do not believe we have previously met, I am happy to talk to you about your client's case. There are other coping mechanisms from ladies who have been doing this longer than I have, who I am sure are great sources of tactics and information. First year here too. So from what I have seen from other comments, they will provide more boundaries they have set too, but it is not easy. It is really frustrating, demoralizing, and just sad that we still have to deal with this crap. Some people act like the response is so easy. Just report him. This is the easiest ethics exam question in the world. The difference on an ethics exam is that the ethics exam is impersonal, and you simply turn in the exam and do not reap consequences for your actions, even if they are what you are supposed to do. Or the other is terribly depressing. Just ignore him. That is life in this world. Whatever you choose to do, taking from some very helpful commenter on my forum. Story 2. I was very young when I entered the profession, finished school early, straight degree, no gap year, and took a job straight out of university, and it was absolutely brutal. I had a magistrate, male, 60s, who would openly leer at me, make comments about how I dressed, and once gave me a hug in court. This was 10 years ago, pre-#MeToo. I had a practitioner, male, 50s, who would constantly make comments about my appearance, and once asked me if I was single. I had a practitioner, male, 40s, who would constantly touch my arm or shoulder when talking to me. I had a practitioner, male, 30s, who would constantly make jokes about how I was too pretty to be a lawyer. I had a practitioner, female, 50s, who would constantly tell me that I was too young to be a lawyer and that I should go back to school. I had a practitioner, female, 40s, who would constantly tell me that I was too nice to be a lawyer and that I should toughen up. I had a practitioner, female, 30s, who would constantly tell me that I was too emotional to be a lawyer and that I should get a grip. I had a practitioner, male, 60s, who would constantly tell me that I was too short to be a lawyer and that I should wear heels. I had a practitioner, male, 50s, who would constantly tell me that I was too fat to be a lawyer and that I should lose weight. I had a practitioner, male, 40s, who would constantly tell me that I was too thin to be a lawyer and that I should eat more. I had a practitioner, male, 30s, who would constantly tell me that I was too tall to be a lawyer and that I should wear flats. The case did not make headlines, but it circulated in whispers among colleagues, and nothing ever came of it officially. No formal complaints, no action, just faded away. Story 3. A female student was being stalked and harassed by a male peer who she went out on one date with. She ended up pressing charges, I think, after he was caught waiting outside her home, and the school got involved because stalking happened on school property. When applying for the bar, the female student disclosed her lawsuit on her application. Our dean said she made it up and kept her from becoming barred for the next 3 years. Dean is still employed. In fact, she just accused me of lying about my surgery recovery time to manipulate the school's extension policy, despite presenting 3 doctors' notes from the surgeons themselves and having a photograph of myself covered head to toe in blood while in the emergency room. Oh, we also had a white professor pretend she was black for years and made national news. Any guesses on who we are? Story 4. I had one friend in law school, first year. We carpooled to school and hung out all the time. The first time we met, we were both wearing jeans with a denim jacket, except my denim jacket was from American Eagle and hers was from Versace. She had a lot of plastic surgery and just got a butt lift before starting school and could not walk right. She had an old boyfriend who basically tried to harm her once in Vegas. There was also this guy, a third-year student at the time, who was always hanging around us and flirting with my friend. So anyways, weeks go by, and one night I got a text from her boyfriend saying she would not be there in the morning for our carpool to school. I asked if she was okay. He replied that she was a recovering alcoholic and had fallen off the wagon. So days pass and I do not hear from her. Eventually, the dude from school texted me and asked if he could call. So he calls, and he says he has been in an intimate relationship with her for weeks, and that they were on the phone one night and her boyfriend heard them and found out. Later, she told me that, after her boyfriend found out, he called the cops on her and told them she tried to commit suicide. So they put her in a psychiatric hold, despite her putting up a fight. This is why I did not hear from her for days. So anyway, my friend decides this guy from school is not worth her time. So he went to one of the school's deans and accused her of cheating. Like in school, LOL. Apparently he implicated me as well, although I never heard a thing about it. So anyway, she diffused the accusations and finished that term, but then she quit school. After she quit, she left her boyfriend and moved in with some other guy. They dated for a while, and they were dating during COVID until one day she committed suicide. If you feel unsafe with your thoughts, please seek professional help. Story 5. This is kind of a rant, but also an open question for women in law. How do you cope with the rampant and non-stop sexual harassment we deal with, especially in entry-level positions? Every woman in the field I have spoken to, from big law to tiny private practice, has dealt with harassment or sexual assault from men working above them. It makes me feel like such a frickin' pessimist. These are powerful men, famous attorneys, and politicians and celebrities, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. You can't say, "Hi, human resources / media / etc. The former president of the American Bar Association, the superior at this firm, has been harassing me, a 22-year-old. Or, this famous politician will only give me this job if I engage in an intimate act with him." Both true stories, by the way. These incidents destroy careers, not the offenders, of course, but the victims. You will be fired or blacklisted or worse, despite what the firm's progressive initiatives say. Career counselors will lower their voice and tell you that, on the down low, reporting this incident would ruin your life, and you are better off seeking counseling. Maybe you can get over it eventually, but the guy with 8 figures in assets and a Wikipedia page will never face accountability. He can torment women the age of his granddaughter all he wants, and you need to suck it up and deal. To add insult to injury, your colleagues will see harassment and, more often than not, turn a blind eye, and can you blame them? They are covering their own butt. They cannot say anything either. You are functionally paralyzed when you are in this position, and you have to simply deal with the harassment and comments and touching until these guys retire or die. Or, best case scenario, you get seniority enough to call them out without risking your career. It is nice to think we are in an age of equality, but we are really not. It is better than it was, sure, but it is still unfair. I am grateful for the opportunities I have had that women of the past could never dream of, but I still got stalked by the manager of my old firm, and knew speaking up would cost me my job, a prediction that I was correct to believe after I finally firmly rejected him, and, shortly thereafter, got fired for performance issues. Neither me nor my friends can say a beloved and famous attorney or politician harassed them. Sure, you could live out the movie Philadelphia and sue, but at what cost? From what I can recall, Tom Hanks' character only really took that leap because he was dying anyways. You are the generation that will make it better only goes so far when you are being actively tormented for your gender. It degrades your self-esteem and makes you second-guess everything you have accomplished. I can only respond by crying when my friend tells me a famous attorney offered to write me a letter of recommendation because he feels bad for sexually harassing me, and I know that letter could get me into the school of my dreams, but what does it say about me if I accept his offer? And, oh my God, what do you do in that situation? How humiliating is that, to have your hard work boiled down to hot 24-year-old para? No matter how hard you work, it still comes down to you being a woman. It is so incredibly humiliating and demoralizing to be in this situation. I am sure this will improve with time, be it seniority or advances in women's rights, but in the meantime, damn, it sucks. Sure, roughly 50% of people in the field deal with it, but how? I guess I am seeking affirmations, mantras, etc. Something to keep me going. The bottom line is that sexism is bad, men need to do better, etc. Being a woman is hard. This is a really raw and vulnerable post to make, so I appreciate anyone who actually reads it. Story 6. After my 10-minute break, this happened. My proctor told me he was taking pictures of my ID and passport for Law School Admission Council, LSAC purposes. Then made me take off my sweatshirt, although my prior proctor did not care. Made me lift up my t-shirt to show my shoulders, which I have a half-sleeve tattoo. He then made me show him my tattoo 5 or more times, and made me show the front of my pants and butt numerous times. 6 times. After repeatedly telling him my sweatpants had no pockets. I also did the hand motion, where pockets would be showing there was not any. He kept saying he had to check for pockets. Furthermore, made me lift up my shirt to my belly button to show my pants front and back for at least 5 to 10 minutes. He then told me he was taking pictures of all of this for LSAC. Towards the end, I became very weirded out. But I tried to not let it bother me because I wanted to finish the test and be done with the LSAT. I kinda tried to block it out of my mind. However, when I took it last year, they never took pictures of me or asked me to do something of the stuff stated above to this extent. I am honestly wanting to report him to LSAC, but wanted to see if I am just overreacting or if you all encountered the same thing. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions. I am a girl, by the way. Update. Thank you for everyone's opinions, suggestions, and support. After much thought and speaking with the attorneys I work for, I am a paralegal at a law firm. I have reported him to LSAC. I have requested an investigation be done into my test, and any test he has proctored since the start of him proctoring for LSAC, and to notify the students he has proctored as well. I have requested a refund. I have asked for what safeguards they will be implementing to prevent such incidents in the future. He be terminated if negligence and/or misconduct harassment was found. And once my score is completed, to then let me determine if I want to cancel or not. Plus the test overall I felt in the middle about, so I do not want to cancel, without knowing that he in fact did affect it. I had already signed up for November test as a backup test, since I want to apply this academic year for next fall term. I will keep everyone updated. Also, for any test takers, male or female, that experience a delay due to my request, I am sorry in advance. Second update. After multiple conversations with higher-ups and the founder of my LSAT prep course, LSAT Max, speaking with the higher-ups as well, they have informed me that corrective measures have been taken. Most importantly, this proctor has been fired. It has been verified. They also informed me that additional measures safeguards will be taken to prevent this from happening again. The fact of the matter is that this happened to me, but I am making sure this does not happen again. Most importantly, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for reaching out and pushing me to make a complaint. I do not know if I honestly would have made one without you all. Anyhow, I know thank you is not enough, but if I ever meet any of you all in law school, just know that I owe you all a drink. Story 7. Our stories create community and belonging. As an OVER 30 woman, I am 43. I think it is important for others to hear from the horse's mouth how women like us actually feel about our decisions to work, not work, to have children, not have children, to wait until later in life to have children, whatever. If we do not tell our stories, someone else will. Someone else is already trying to speak for us. Vance describes working women without children. So my question to you all is, what is your story? Why did you make the choices you made about career and family? How do you feel about those choices now? I will start. Here is my story. I grew up in the Deep South, Republican parents, Republican community, and I believed them when they said merit is all that matters. I earned a JD, Juris Doctor, and an LLM, Master of Laws, in tax law. I pursued a male-dominated career path in law. One afternoon, in my first year of practice, in a 600 or more attorney international law firm, my boss threw a book at my head and called me stupid. He was actually the one who was wrong to boot. That moment changed me. The self-doubt sown by that interaction was a monkey on my back for a long time. I eventually regained my confidence and built a successful 18-year career as a corporate and tax deal lawyer, not at that firm, with the help and guidance of several incredible mentors and champions who valued me. 3 years ago, I left the practice of law to buy a company with my business partner. I am the chief executive officer of a successful business that I co-own, providing a meaningful and impactful service. I have spent my entirety of my professional life helping people solve problems and pursue their goals. All the while, I struggled with the cultural and familial pressure to get married. When I was 31, my mother said to two strangers, at a yard sale, with me standing right there, that I needed to have my eggs frozen because I was so old. I caved to the pressure. At 33, I married a man who would openly brag and rejoice in his ex-wife's struggles, the mother of his children, among other objectively unkind things. I ignored my instincts. I forced a square through a round hole because of fear, and I lost trust in myself. Our divorce was final 2.5 years later. No children, hallelujah, because a lifetime attachment to that man actually would be miserable. I did not have a child until I was 38 years old. And because I waited until 38, I could only have one. I then had 3 miscarriages, with the last one lasting 4 months, 5 doctor's visits, and a hospital procedure. After that, I decided to close that chapter. I was sad about the finality of that decision, but I was okay. I looked around at my life and I liked it. Loved it. The experiences. True ride or die friends. A career I am proud of. Using my talents to help people to have earned their trust and confidence. Paying it forward to the next generation of women, choosing to navigate an unconventional path. A loving family, just the 3 of us. Waiting to try to be a mother was one of the best decisions of my life. Anytime sooner, I would have perpetuated the dysfunction of my family of origin and social conditioning, like be a good girl, that took me until my late 30s to start peeling off like an onion. If given the option, I would not go back and change anything about my career choices, even with the mistakes. With my experience and skill set, I have a lot of value to offer this world, and whether or not I have children is irrelevant to that point. At 43, I am still working on it, but now I have learned a thing or two, and I get to teach my daughter about boundaries, how to set them, how to hold them. I get to teach her how to advocate for herself, to make her voice heard. I get to teach her that being a girl is awesome, and I get to teach her that one jerk throwing a book at her head and insulting her intelligence does not make it true. My scars are what they are, but they have not made me a miserable person. They have shaped me, and I like the person I try to be. It is called growth. My cup overflows with gratitude for all of the amazing people in my life, for their love and the belonging I have found. I even found the value. Story 8. Background. I worked at PwC New York for 5.5 years. The most recent audit that I completed as the lead, only senior, concluded in October 2019 and was chosen for ECR, PwC's internal review, and passed that process with no findings in November 2019. Additionally, that job came in under budget, with a gain over $50,000, and in the closing meeting, the client specifically asked for me to be on the job again next year by name. Nobody else on the team was named. Why am I telling you this? Because I have been on Reddit accounting for years, and there is typically a lot of victim blaming and firm defense when people share their stories. I want to set the tone accurately, as I am competent and perform my job at a high level. My story of physical sexual harassment and PwC's response had nothing to do with my performance. The harassment. I attended the PwC New York holiday party at Tao Uptown in December 2017. I had attended every other PwC holiday party, and typically they are a lot of fun. The firm spends a lot of money, has great food and drinks, music and dancing, and a lot of people come out for it. I would estimate that my group was about 1,000 or so people. I even got a picture with Peter Olinto one year. Due to the circumstances in 2017, that was the last PwC holiday party and last large-scale happy hour I would attend, although I continued working there until 2020. I was walking around chatting up colleagues when somebody grabbed my butt. I smacked their hand off my butt and turned to see who it was. I was shocked to see that it was somebody who I had only worked with on one client, once, over a year ago, where they were my senior. We were not friends. We never really talked or hung out. I was caught completely off guard. There was a second person also there, laughing at my expense, having seen what had happened. The original person then reached over and grabbed my butt again. I do not think it was sexual in nature. I think it was a bad joke intended to humiliate me in front of peers, but I did not find it humor in it. I immediately talked to a few colleagues at my level, who reassured me that reporting it was the right thing to do, so I sought out a manager in my group, told her what had happened, sent human resources an email from my phone reporting the behavior, and went home. PwC's response, the local human resources person at PwC New York, elevated my story to the National Ethics Group at PwC. I reiterated the story, and they investigated. I believe they concluded their investigation around mid-January 2018, which included interviews of me, and I believe interviews with the perpetrator and witness. In the end, PwC reported to me that they were able to corroborate my story, and they asked me what resolution I wanted. I was never sexually harassed before, at least not this egregiously, so I said I did not know, but that I was certain they had a reasonable response. My initial expectation is that, if somebody grabbed a coworker's butt and the firm was able to corroborate it, the person would be terminated, but I was not going to tell the firm that was the resolution I wanted, even though it was the resolution I expected. National Ethics told me that they would handle it professionally internally, and that was the end of that. Around June 2018, about 5 months later, a partner in my subgroup sent out an email congratulating everybody who was promoted. I will add that I was not up for a promotion at that point, so it did not matter to me. I was shocked to see that the person who grabbed my butt was promoted to manager. I went back to human resources with a huge what the heck. There's about 10 managers in my subgroup, and now one of them has sexually harassed me. In these conversations I requested they transfer me to a different group, but human resources' response was that I was overreacting, that the harassment was a one-time dumb drunk joke, that they had handled it, although it is against policy to talk about punishment. To me, they insisted that I needed to let it go. I actually ended up posting about it on Fishbowl, an application for anonymous workplace discussion, and after reading a large number of responses, including some responses that were tagged as partners, I was told not to let it go, and to elevate it until it is satisfactorily resolved. So I did not let it go. On June 26, 2018, per the suggestion of my peers, I emailed the New York City office managing partner, explaining the situation that the firm had put me in. In the email, I explained that I was not happy, did not think I should have. Story 9. This past semester, I have been bullied and harassed by this group of girls. I am a woman in my early 20s, and I am in my first semester of second year of law school. I like to categorize myself as someone who does not take people's crap and always stands up for myself. However, this past semester, this group of girls have chosen me as a target of constant harassment and bullying. One of the girls, the ringleader, has almost ran me over with her car in the parking lot on multiple occasions, mocks me anytime I speak in class or go up to ask a question, makes fun of my appearance when I walk into a classroom to her friends, physically slams my chair when she walks by, among other aggressions targeted at me. I know I sound like a weak person, but the leader of this little group made threats of violence to another individual in my grade last semester, and even attempted to fight her in school. My school gave her a slap on the wrist and only switched her classes, while the girl got a restraining order against her. Fast forward to last week, our school hosted an event at a local bar, and the group of girls followed me into the bathroom where they would not let me leave and screamed in my face while I just stood there. They kept saying that I must have a problem with them, and that I play the white women victim. I was not going to report the incident, as the girl has shown that she can literally get away with anything, and the school has even allowed her to join multiple committees and honors societies. To note, she threatened to sue the school for discrimination if they kicked her out. Now today, I am in class, and one of the girls in the group is attempting to exit the same row I was seated in. When she said, "Excuse me," I then pushed my seat in further. She then put her 2 hands on my seat and attempted to shove my seat in more, which I then said, "Bitch." She then raised her hand and hit me in my left shoulder hard as hell while saying she was going to beat my face in. I immediately went to report it to my school, and they acted like they did not know what to do. I wrote up a formal statement and asked for something to be done, but knowing my school's track record, nothing is going to happen. I legit do not know what to do, and it is so frustrating that these people are going to be entering into the legal field with me. Sorry for the rant and grammar errors. Update. The dean of the school reached out, who I initially reported the incident to, and stated that because there are 2 different sides of the story, there is nothing that can be done until an investigation has taken place. The only resolution they have at this time is for us to sit as far apart as we can in class, which we already do. I completely understand that the school has to listen to both sides, but there are multiple witnesses who saw her hit me and also reported it. My professor also came forward and reported it. I knew this was going to happen, which is why I did not report past incidents to the school. Another update. Multiple students from my school have seen my post and have come forward about having issues with this same group of people. The police have been involved in the past, and nothing has been done. Yet another update. This post went viral at my school, and now other students are coming forward to report misconduct from the students I have mentioned. Professors and faculty have also came forward to report what has been going on. The school has gone completely silent. Kind of in limbo right now. 11-3. So much has happened. So many students at my school saw my post and have made their own reports against my bullies. The head dean of my school called me and we had an extremely productive call. However, I have to file an additional code of conduct violation report since the current investigation is not technically on record. Our school's system is not really pro-victim, and it makes it extremely hard to know how to file a quote-unquote formal report that will be on these people's records. Many witnesses have been interviewed and conversations are still being had regarding my safety. I would say more, but my school and bullies are now watching my Reddit. Thank you to everyone who has reached out and shown me love. I really hope the school does the right thing this time. Story 10. Harassment at law firm started with offensive remarks from partners, including a female mentor suggesting sleeping with someone for money, and escalated with perceived retaliation via reduced assignments, leading to advice to document, file Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EEOC) complaints, and find new employment. The original poster mentioned being humiliated at work, with comments from partners suggesting inappropriate solutions like getting a sugar daddy or selling feet pictures online due to being underpaid, which the original poster found offensive and gross. One partner, a female mentor, made particularly disturbing remarks, saying, quote, "You don't even have to have intimacy with them. My friend did it, and she just slept in bed with him." After the original poster expressed discomfort with the idea of sleeping with someone for money, leading the original poster to cry in their office. The harassment occurred in the presence of human resources, with no action taken, and the original poster feared retaliation due to low billables, which they attributed partly to being ignored for assignments after requesting a break. The original poster's billable issues started after asking for a break from assignments due to being overwhelmed, and workflow never returned, suggesting possible retaliation. The situation led to advice from commenters to document everything, consider EEOC complaints, and find a new job, indicating the harassment created a hostile work environment. This video does not promote illegal activity. Stories are shared for commentary and education.